Jonquel Jones, who won the Most Valuable Player award in the WNBA Finals, has had enough. Despite the fact that she was the captain of the New York Liberty team that won the championship, she is speaking out about the problems that are occurring within the league. A single, obvious problem? The WNBA Finals this year have been plagued by low ratings and large numbers of empty seats. Even after putting on performances that were worthy of the Most Valuable Player award, Jones was unable to remain silent when he saw the shocking number of empty seats in the stands. In spite of the fact that Caitlin Clark was not even in the finals, the media, fans, and even the league seemed to be concentrating their attention on her. This was the thing that really set her off. The absence of Clark in the playoffs is something that Jonquel is aware of, and the preoccupation with Clark's potential impact has also contributed to the creation of an atmosphere in which star players such as herself are being overlooked. It's not just about ratings, though. This is about the more fundamental problems that exist within the WNBA.
Zero time in the shield. That's the first person, first team foul.
Jonquel Jones is of the opinion that the WNBA should not be dependent on the presence of a single player in order to achieve success. It is common knowledge that the WNBA's viewership suffered when Caitlin Clark prematurely left the playoffs. In light of the fact that Jonquel has recently brought home a championship, he is well aware of the significance of teamwork and the contributions of collective talent. However, when the spotlight and narratives surrounding the league only focus on one player, it creates a problem for other players who are already considered to be very talented. Jones is of the opinion that the excitement surrounding Clark has obscured not only her own accomplishments, but also the achievements of her team. In spite of the fact that he was named Most Valuable Player of the Finals and was the driving force behind the Liberty's victory, the media continues to place a significant amount of attention on Clark. This raises questions about whether or not the league has fallen into the trap of focusing its future on just one name.
She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days.
Jones is not only irritated by the empty seats in the stands, but she is also concerned about the way in which the WNBA markets itself. She is of the opinion that the concentration on the star power of a single player, in particular Caitlin Clark, has resulted in a tunnel vision that fails to highlight the incredible talent that is present throughout the league. This one-sided focus is having a negative impact on the league's overall appeal. Despite the fact that Clark is an incredible player, Jonquel contends that the Women's National Basketball Association ought to make certain that every star, particularly those who are leading their teams to championships, is acknowledged and celebrated. According to Jones, the low ratings for the playoffs and the empty seats are both symptoms of this more widespread problem. Rather than constructing narratives that engage fans across the board, the WNBA is placing an excessive amount of emphasis on a single player, which is frustrating casual viewers when that player is not taking the court.
Do you want me to just say I told you so, or are you willing to say, Stephen A., you did tell us?
Whenever Caitlin Clark is absent from the equation, the level of excitement decreases. This is a pattern that is difficult to ignore. However, Jonquel Jones is aware that the future of the league cannot be expected to be dependent on the actions of a single player. Jones exemplified all of the qualities that a basketball superstar ought to possess during the finals. She was dominant on the court, she was a leader in the locker room, and she was the driving force for her team. A bitter taste was left in the mouth as a result of the low attendance in the arena during the finals. Jonquel found herself competing in front of empty seats, despite the fact that she had just delivered one of the most exciting performances of her entire career. Instead of focusing on just one player, the WNBA needs to change its strategy and provide stars like Jones with the platform they deserve. The problem with viewership is not solely about Clark. Rather, it is about how the league treats its other incredible athletes and how it promotes them.
Believe me, I've coached the best, but they were tremendously disrespected. But human nature is, okay, this kid's coming into the league.
Jonquel is in agreement with this position. When all is said and done, a league that thrives on the collective success and diversity of its players shouldn't be placing such a heavy reliance on a single player to generate excitement throughout the league. A player who brings versatility, skill, and leadership to the court, Jonquel Jones is more than just a player who won the Most Valuable Player award in the finals. The WNBA runs the risk of alienating fans who are concerned about the dynamic of the team and the long-term competition if it fails to properly market players like Jones, who bring consistency and all-around excellence to the game. What Jonquel wants is crystal clear: a WNBA that honors all of its stars and ensures that remarkable performances from players like her are not overshadowed by the absence of a single player. The foundation of the league's collective greatness serves as the basis for a more compelling narrative for the league.
So yes, the WNBA was growing before Caitlin Clark. Make that abundantly clear. But it was growing incrementally compared to the exponential growth you're seeing now.
It is a problem that the WNBA has allowed itself to become very dependent on the Caitlin Clark narrative. However, Jonquel Jones is asserting her position. She wants the fans to be aware that the league's strength lies in its diversity, in the numerous stories and talents that contribute to the excitement of the game. During the finals, the WNBA should reevaluate its strategy in light of the fact that there are empty seats in the arena. Jones is of the opinion that the WNBA ought to highlight its stars in a more equitable manner, and not just the ones who make the most prominent headlines. Jones is urging fans and the league to remember that players like her are putting in the work, winning championships, and deserving just as much attention as Clark is. This is happening while the media continues to talk about Clark. The primary objective should be to cultivate a fan base that is able to endure and recognize the breadth of talent that exists within the league.
Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 929,000 viewers. Was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever Sun contest.
This is not just about a single season of poor ratings or a string of empty seats at a finals game, according to Jonquel Jones. Rather, it is about the future of the WNBA in the long run. To truly expand the league, she is aware that the WNBA must move away from focusing its entire narrative on a single player. Stars such as her require the telling of their stories as well. Despite the fact that Jonquel's performance as the most valuable player in the finals ought to have been a more significant story, the conversation continued to revolve around Clark. If the league is serious about maintaining a steady viewership, it must devise a model that is resilient enough to withstand the elimination of a single player from the playoffs. It is necessary to shift the focus to celebrating the collective strength of all of the athletes in the organization. When it comes to maintaining the interest of fans, Jonquel Jones is aware that the most important factor is to construct captivating narratives that extend beyond a single player. The stars are what attract fans, but what keeps them coming back is the storylines and the overall competition. Jones is aware that in order for the WNBA to continue its expansion, it must acknowledge the vast array of talent that exists within the league and provide players such as herself with the recognition that they are due. Jonquel is prepared to take the initiative in demonstrating to the world what women's basketball is truly about, which is a collaborative effort that extends beyond any one player. The identity of the WNBA cannot be dependent on a single name. This narrative needs to be accepted by the league, or else it runs the risk of losing its momentum. Despite the fact that Jonquel Jones raises significant concerns regarding the use of a single player in the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, it is impossible to ignore the singular impact that Caitlin Clark has had on the sport. In addition to individual games and playoff runs, Clark's influence extends beyond those. It is impossible to overstate the amount of excitement that she has brought to the Women's Basketball League. Clark's ability to captivate audiences in ways that have revitalized interest in the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has resulted in packed arenas and increased media attention. Caitlin Clark has become a household name, representing a figure that encourages young women to dream big and push the boundaries of what is possible in sports. Her influence extends beyond the realm of basketball fans. Jonquel Jones may experience a sense of being overshadowed by the attention that Clark receives. However, rather than viewing this as a negative, she and the rest of the league should acknowledge how Clark's rise is beneficial to everyone. By putting the spotlight on women's basketball, Clark is making it possible for other players to draw attention to themselves as well. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, should make the most of the opportunity presented by the fact that when people tune in to watch Caitlin, they are also introduced to stars such as Jonquel Jones. As opposed to concentrating on who receives the most attention, players and the league as a whole ought to embrace Clark's star power as a tool to bring in more fans and revenue for the sport as a whole. She is without a doubt one of the most talented players in the WNBA, and the fact that she won the Most Valuable Player award in the finals only serves to solidify her legacy. On the other hand, there is no denying that the arrival of Caitlin Clark has been a significant game-changer. Fans are unable to resist the spectacle that has been created as a result of Clark's dynamic playing style and his ability to perform exceptionally well in crucial moments. But what Jones might not realize is that Clark is actually helping to shine a larger spotlight on the league, one that can include stars like her as well. Jones's concerns about media coverage are valid, but what she might not realize is that Clark is helping to achieve this. As Clark continues to establish herself as a global icon, the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, will have more opportunities than ever before to showcase its other stars, including Jones, to a more extensive audience. Although it is commendable for Jonquel Jones to advocate for increased recognition, she is failing to see the bigger picture. Rather than being detrimental to the league, Caitlin Clark's presence is actually contributing to its growth. As a result of the increased attention and media coverage surrounding Clark, other players have created opportunities for themselves to enter the spotlight. Instead of viewing Clark as a rival for the attention of the media, Jones ought to start thinking of her as a driving force behind the expansion of the league as a whole. As a matter of fact, the WNBA is successful whenever Clark is successful, and that is a victory for all those who were involved, from the seasoned players like Jones to the rising stars currently in the game. Caitlin Clark's possible relocation to Europe is certainly generating a lot of buzz, and while it may appear to be a loss for the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, in the short term, it also highlights how valuable she is to the league. Globally, Clark's influence can be felt. She has the potential to bring even more international attention to women's basketball, which would bring the sport as a whole to a new level. If she does take her talents overseas, it could bring about this. This presents an opportunity for the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, to capitalize on the momentum that Clark has established, not only by relying on her presence, but also by asserting themselves and promoting the other stars in the league, such as Jonquel Jones. In the event that the league is able to seize this opportunity, it will put itself in a position to experience sustained growth and success, thereby ensuring that both Clark and Jones are acknowledged for the tremendous contributions they have made to the game. Despite the fact that Jonquel Jones's frustrations with empty seats and poor ratings are understandable, the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, and she needs to acknowledge that this is a critical moment. Although Caitlin Clark is contributing to the advancement of women's basketball, the league's long-term success will be contingent on the manner in which it supports and promotes all of its renowned players. It is entirely reasonable for Jones to desire additional recognition, and she is deserving of it. However, rather than pointing fingers, the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, ought to build on the foundation that Clark has established and bring players like Jones to the level of fame that they are due. Through collaboration, Clark's star power has the potential to contribute to the overall growth and development of the league, including the development of MVPs such as Jonquel Jones. In conclusion, Both Jonquel Jones and Caitlin Clark are extremely important to the development of women's basketball in the years to come. Although Jones's performance in the finals, which earned her the Most Valuable Player award, demonstrates that she is among the best, Caitlin Clark is the one who is garnering the attention of people all over the world. It is time for the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, to stop competing for the spotlight and instead promote its players in an equal manner and create narratives that highlight the breadth of talent across the league. The entrance has been opened by Caitlin Clark. Now it is up to the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, to make sure that stars like Jonquel Jones are able to make it through it and contribute to the league's advancement to the next level.